it's very positive and very joyous for us to celebrate him for that reason. Yeah.
All right, Monty Edmondson, he's been playing even ever since you fired Bob, right? All right, so he's going to entertain us. This is a special treat.
Backtracking a little bit, Monty and myself kind of jammed a lot. Monty played great guitar. I played drums. One day, we were walking downtown to my job and Monty's job, and Bob says, "Hey guys, I hear you've been jamming. Let's go meet you in my garage Saturday. We'll do a few tunes." So I said, "Sure, why not?"
Train around 16 coaches long, yeah.
And then we started playing. I can't say practice because Bob did not like the word practice. He said we play music, not once and over and over.
Back in '55, he had a guitar player named Scotty Moore with him. Scotty played it this way.
We started playing in his garage, and for a few weeks, every Saturday, we'd meet in Bob's garage, the one attached to the house, and we'd do a lot of songs, the songs I never heard of, because Bob listened to all these Shreveport songs. But as a drummer, you can do anything, you can pick up any song.
Train, train, come on down that line.
The local radio station still played the old standard music.
Coming on down that line.
Bob had gotten into listening to a program in Shreveport, Louisiana that had a lot of blues to it. And up here, nobody really knew what blues was.
Years later, James Burton joined him and sung something like this.
There was no good music in Hibbing, so we listened to the Duluth station, WEBC, because he played rock and roll.
It's easy to imagine when you're here, Bob as a teenager, up in his bedroom on a cold winter night in Hibbing, listening to AM radio and just absorbing like a sponge all the new music that was coming out in the 50s.
No Name Jive, Muddy Waters, whatever.
Train, coming on down that track.
But one of the things that Bob said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing this,
that long black train.
He said, "I'm like a funnel. I take everything in one end, it comes out the other end me."
And he was training himself, training his ear at the time. It's easy to imagine that, yeah.
Back in the days when 8 or 10 different groups would record a song, this one was done. The style I do it is Something Smith and the Redheads. Anybody remember them? Yeah. Well, sing along if you know it. Be sure it's true when you say, "I love you, it's a sin." A rock band was a little strange at that time. The rock music had probably been out about 2 or 3 years before Bob and Leroy and I formed a band. Just because these words were spoken.
I used to read about them. I knew their names 40 years before I met them because they were in all the books. If you rubbed elbows with Dylan, you know, you were part of history, you know, back then, you know.
This one is during a winter frolic competition. They did that at the Little Theater. And this was in Monty Edwardson's scrapbook. It's a small theater that's inside of our big memorial arena.
The name for the golden chords. Leroy had a set of drums that were in gold. So that golden part came out of there, and the chords came out of the different chords that I used on the song. We put a lot of extra chords into some of these songs, and so we just decided that was going to be the golden chords.
And Monty is still a great guitar player. He is really good.
And Monty was so good on the guitar. all Bob would do was hum a song, and pretty sure Monty would have it.
They were just great guys and really, really kind, and were just happy to talk about themselves and about Bob. And yeah, I mean, they're part of history too. They really are.
Get over here, Dad's got to take another picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to shake his hand?
Yeah, get in there.
Monty's a nice man. He's a nice guy.
So's Leroy.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, you know, they're just because they played with Bob Dylan 50 years ago. I mean, why shouldn't they be nice anyway? I mean, even if they were Bob Dylan, why shouldn't he be nice?
Yeah.
Which he is now, apparently. He's really mellowed in his old age.
So be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie.
He knew what he wanted. He knew years back what he wanted.
Well, I screwed up with Leo yesterday. He came in and Leroy. He said, I'm tired. I said, oh yeah? I said, are you just visiting? He said, no, I'm a musician. I was with is it Gold Tones or Golden Tones, whatever they were, the first band?
Golden Chords.
Golden Chords, yeah. I said, oh yeah, what kind of music do you do? I mean, I had no idea, right? Then I found out he was in the original bands.
And Bob would say, Leroy, keep it simple. He did not want pounding on the drums 3/4 time, 4/4 time. He wanted to be the center of attention. So that's what we did. I said, well, that's easy to do, you know. So we kind of kept it quiet, and the music had feeling, and that's the main thing. It was really decent music, really neat. And then we played in his garage. And his mother was such a bubbly person. His mother would say, Bobby, you know it's getting kind of loud. And he'd say, yeah, Mom.
Bob had seen the movie with Little Richard in it, so when he played piano, he was trying to imitate Little Richard's mannerisms.
Monty said, let's do a rock hop in Hibbing. So, because Duluth is doing it a lot. So he said, okay. So we rented the Armory, hired a police, hired a cleanup person, and it was a Saturday night. There was nothing for the kids to do.
Have you seen this? From 1959, is it? To see Monty Edmondson, Leroy, and Bobby Zimmerman for 50 cents.
They bought an ad in the Hibbing Tribune, and that's what that is. It's an old copy of the one ad. They could only afford to buy one ad.
And we call this Bob's concert, first concert, because he said, you know, this is the first time I got paid to play music.
Well, blue, stay away from me.
Pretty much looked at as a wild group, you know. It was different probably what punk rockers look like to us these days. So we had some kids that were really into it, they really enjoyed it, and others just thought we were kind of a loud comedy act.
True love never meant for me.
We had another rock band, Leroy and I, after that, and that band was very well accepted. And Bob formed another group that, with a couple of other friends of his after that, and I think they were better accepted than we were. We were kind of the icebreakers, I guess, in the rock music up here. So when you got something new, it's just natural. People to maybe be a little opposed to it, you might say. And then we just kind of drifted off in different areas. Ended up going to Japan in service, playing in country bands, and then I stayed with country bands for about 50 years.
Don't know why ever could agree.
What happened with the transition from playing whatever you played with Dylan to this?
6 months of doing this. Just to get that thumb going and get my ear acoustically trained to the difference of a straight pick and a thumb pick.
When you reach 16 or 15, you know there's a bigger world out there, and obviously he loved music. He would listen to the radio and absorb all that, and in his mind, Hibbing was very small and culturally defective, or you know, there just wasn't enough happening here. He could go to Duluth and see concerts, but it just really wasn't the hub of things. So when he graduated from high school, he ran away.
I was aware that his song had been picked up by Peter, Paul, and Mary. And when I would come home on leave, I would see his mother, and she would kind of update me on what's going on with Bob and everything.
Don't think he comes here too much, but I don't think Minnesota was too nice to him. So.
And there's so much rumor that he doesn't want to come here because of what happened to him when he was younger, but I don't know if all that's true.
People like to fuel the negative of the relationship when it's not really valid. From what I understand, the rebellious young man who ended up in New York was trying to make an image for himself. He was a very good tall tale teller, a very good storyteller. I mean, obviously his early career was all that. So he loved that. He loved to spin a yarn about being, in the circus, and he wanted to protect his family, really.
Everybody wants me to be just who I am. Everybody wants me to be just like them. They say while you're slaving, I just get bored.
I think that was part of the era then. I can remember when Buddy Holly was famous and we would play out of town. All of a sudden, we weren't from Hibbing either. We were from some place like Lubbock, Texas. Probably some of these other towns that Bob has claimed to be from in his past. Part of the marketing, maybe. Maybe some brilliant marketing, you never know. I mean, if he would have just said I was from Hibbing and just left it at that, nothing exciting, but when his hometown and his background changes all the time, it stirs up some interest. Kept the media going for years.
Everybody says she's the brains behind all.
When we talk to family, there's this Bob Dylan that he gets in front of 1 million people a year and does his entertainment, his business, his work. And then there's this guy Bobby, or Robert, as DJ used to call him, who takes care of his family and cares about them, is protective and nurturing. And that guy was the one who probably distracted the media from Hibbing, and really didn't want his family to be burdened with a lot of that load. And it ended up being kind of a really media relationship that made it look very tainted, and it really isn't. So there's this Bob Dylan guy, and then there's Robert Zimmerman, and they're two different people, really.
I really don't know why Bob changed. You hear all kinds of different stories on why he did it, but I guess that's his business on how he did that. But it's almost like they're two different people.
Happy birthday, dear Bob. Robert Zimmerman.
And now he's grown into a major icon in this life.
Come gather around, people.